you have mature skin and heavily hooded eyes and you would like to achieve makeup that enhances your features without looking heavy, overdone or difficult to recreate, this tutorial is for you. Many of the mature makeup tutorials online are absolutely beautiful, but they can also feel very makeup artist led and difficult to achieve at home. So on my 69-year young mother-in-law Jane, my goal wasn't to make her look different, it was simply to make her feel like the prettiest version of herself. That means no highlighting and contouring, no dramatic lifting tricks, just no complicated techniques. Jane is actually allergic to a lot of skincare products, so for prep I really wanted to keep the skin simple and comfortable. I'm going in with a Purito Wonder Relief Serum, which is unscented, and this works beautifully as a lightweight base for her makeup. Now yes, you can absolutely use richer creams and eye products to help plump and hydrate the skin before makeup, as these can really be beneficial, but I also wanted to show you that you don't need a complicated routine or a million products underneath your makeup for it to still look beautiful and flattering on mature skin. I've applied a serum balm underneath the eyes, and those two products are perfect for today's look. Today I'm going to be using the Haus Labs Triclone Foundation, and I'm going to start with the eyes. I'm using this to neutralise Jane's eyelids. Now if you personally prefer a little more coverage on your lids, you could use something like the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes Cream Eyeshadows. They're fantastic for this because they come in neutral shades and they give you more of a medium to full coverage on the lid, and once they set, they wear beautifully on hooded eyes. But again, for Jane, I really wanted to keep the skin looking breathable, light and realistic, so I didn't want to completely blank out the natural skin tone on the eyelids because it wouldn't match the face because I'm not going for a heavy foundation. Remember, if you have heavily hooded eyes, don't forget to gently lift the fold of the skin and neutralise underneath there as well, because that hidden area is often where redness and discoloration can still peek through. When you raise your eyebrows, people can still see that area of the lid. It's only when the face is fully relaxed that that fold of skin tends to conceal a lot of the eyeshadow, so don't forget to neutralise underneath there as well. So as you can see, it's lightweight but effective. You now need to keep in mind that the overall makeup won't fully come together until we've completed the complexion after. I do prefer to do the eyes first, as then it's easy to clean up if there's any fall down. For eyeshadow, I'm going to use the Lisa Eldridge liquid eyeshadow in the shade Cressida. Lisa describes it as a freshwater pearl, which I think is a beautiful description because this is such a beautiful eyeshadow. I'm applying this with a Rephr 02 brush. It's a flatter style of brush, so it's really great for packing the colour onto the lid, and I'd recommend looking down into a mirror if you're doing this on yourself to really stretch the skin. You really want to make sure you place the colour over the entire mobile lid, even though a lot of this will naturally become concealed by the fold of the skin once the eyes are relaxed. We still need to make sure we apply it here because again, once you raise your brows, often the skin does become visible. Open your eyes, look straight into a mirror, and if you can't see this colour when your eyes are open, try taking it a little bit higher. If you're lacking space between your eyelid when it's open and your brow bone, then only go as high as necessary. You absolutely do not need to bring it all the way up to your brows unless you really want to. The main goal is to simply make sure that when your eyes are open and relaxed, you can see a little bit of that colour peeping through as best you can. As you can see with Jane, she naturally has quite a lot of space between her eye and her brow, and also naturally holds her brows slightly lifted, which gives us a little bit more room to work with. So even with the eyes open and relaxed, you can still see a soft wash of that cream colour coming through. I'm now going to take the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette, and I'm using this soft neutral brown shade with the Morphe M331 eye blender. This is a tapered brush which is really helpful for hooded eyes because it gives you a little bit more control over the placement. Feel free to use an even smaller brush if you have less space. I'm starting in the centre of the eyelid where you can naturally see a shadow when Jane's eyes are open and relaxed. The indentation that I just pointed out is essentially Jane's socket once the fold of the skin settles over the eye. Now I want you to pay attention to this little area because this little fold of skin actually sits slightly lower than the outer corner of Jane's eye. This is really important when working on heavily hooded eyes because we don't want to follow that fold downwards with our eyeshadow placement, otherwise it can start to visually drag the eyes down and exaggerate the heaviness through the outer corners. Instead, we almost want to visually cut across that fold slightly by following the direction of the lower eyelash line upwards towards the tail of the eyebrow. That's what's going to help create the illusion of more lift through the eyes. This is also why I don't want you stretching the skin while placing your eyeshadow, because once you let go and the skin relaxes back down into place, the eyeshadow can end up sitting much lower than you intended. You can gently pull the skin taut so that you can really get the colour between any of the fine lines, but don't stretch the skin too high. On that same brush, we're taking a slightly deeper brown shade. This one is a little cooler in tones, so it helps mimic the appearance of a natural shadow a little bit more. I'm keeping this colour closer to the outer third of the eye, again following that slightly lifted angle and coming down towards the outer corner of the lash line, making sure that I keep the placement just above that lower fold of skin. By softly shading this area, it helps reduce the appearance of the folds because the skin naturally protrudes forward and that tends to catch light and therefore draws more attention. So then if you add a slightly deeper shadow here, it's no longer reflecting that light, and that's what I mean when I say about pushing back the appearance of the skin folds. It's not actually moving them, it's creating an illusion that they're no longer quite as visible. I really hope that makes sense. It's quite difficult to describe. Now this point here is where I want the outer corner of the eyeshadow to finish because it still leaves us enough space to apply eyeshadow along that lower eyelash line and connect everything together seamlessly afterwards, while still keeping that softly lifted shape through the outer corner. Here I'm explaining to Jane about not applying the eyeshadow while lifting your brows, because again, once you relax them, your eyeshadow is going to sit much lower. So if we compare Jane's right eye to the left eye, you can see how much more prominent the fold looks without that deeper brown eyeshadow there to softly push it back. One of the best and most effective tricks for hooded eyes is to tight line between the roots of the eyelashes with a long wear gel eye pencil. This gives definition to the eyes without taking up any additional lid space, which is really important on hooded eyes. This pencil dries down, so before it does, make sure you go in with an angled liner brush and smudge this just above the root of your eyelashes. This is going to give you the appearance of wearing eyeliner without actually taking up any lid space, which is fantastic. So as you can see, when Jane's eyes are open, it looks as though we've applied eyeliner all the way across the top lid, but it hasn't interfered with any of the lid space or eyeshadow that we've already created. This technique is also brilliant for mature eyes because it helps the lash line appear fuller and denser, which can be really flattering as lashes naturally become more sparse with age. At this stage you can curl your lashes if you want to, and I'll link this small curler in the description box because it's one of my favourites for smaller eyes and heavily hooded lids. I'm applying some brown lashes on Jane, and although these exact ones aren't currently available, I will link some very similar alternatives in the description box along with everything else I've used today. For mature eyes, I personally find softer brown lashes much more flattering than intense black, and I also prefer keeping them fairly short and lightweight. I'm using an 8mm on the outer corner, 3 10s, and then an 8mm on the inner corner. Lashes really are one of the best tricks for hooded eyes because they help to open up the eyes, but they also subtly help support and lift the appearance of the lid slightly as well, almost like a little scaffolding effect for the eyes. I then just applied a little bit of eyeshadow underneath the lower eyelash line and a tiny bit of mascara. Moving back onto the skin, I'm going to take the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Corrector in the shade Pink Pomelo, and I'm using this just to lightly soften some of the discoloration around Jane's eyes, but also some of the pigmentation throughout the skin. Now I want to reiterate that I really want Jane to still feel like Jane at the end of this makeup. Of course, you can absolutely completely cover every little imperfection, pigmentation mark, and areas of discoloration, and I would recommend it if it was a special occasion or an evening makeup look, but that wasn't my goal for today. Instead, I'm just focusing on lightly brightening and softening some of those deeper tones rather than fully masking them. You'll also notice I specifically chose a lighter pink corrector rather than the traditional deeper peach or orange tone for pigmentation because I knew I wanted to keep the foundation quite light and skin-like afterwards. If we use a very intense colour corrector underneath lighter coverage makeup, sometimes you can still see the colour corrector coming through the foundation. I wanted to keep this makeup more realistic and achievable for Jane herself so that if she wanted to create elements of this tutorial later on, she absolutely could. I wanted this to feel like real wearable makeup that you could do in everyday life rather than makeup that only works under studio lights or in a professional artistry setting. If after applying your foundation you still want a little bit more coverage in certain areas, you absolutely can go back in afterwards and spot conceal where needed. Something like the Lisa Eldridge Pinpoint Concealer Micro Correcting Pencil is fantastic for this because it allows you to very precisely target individual areas without having to add a heavy layer across the entire face. Or you could take a fuller coverage concealer like the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer on a very small art brush or eyeliner brush and just perfect specific areas afterwards. But again, for today, I really wanted to keep this makeup a little softer, lighter and more minimal rather than overly perfected. I'm using the Morphe M243 slanted contour brush to apply the foundation, and honestly, just because it's a makeup brush marketed for a specific technique or area of the face, it doesn't mean that's the only way you can use it, and I love this brush for foundation. Rather than sweeping the foundation across the face in long motions, I'm mostly stippling and pressing the foundation into the skin so that we don't disturb the corrector. And then I like to press over that with a damp sponge just to lightly press everything into the skin further and remove any excess product. I'm using the Estee Lauder Futurist Soft Touch Concealer. It's nice and lightweight, has a skin-like finish and works beautifully on mature skin. A lot of makeup artists would encourage you to brighten the entire under eye area, and that absolutely can work for fuller coverage makeup looks, but personally, even on myself, I prefer keeping the concealer closer to my actual skin tone and then only selectively brightening the deepest shadowed areas. With mature skin especially, areas with a little more texture or fullness can catch the light more, so using a very bright concealer everywhere can sometimes make those areas stand out, and that's why I'm using a tiny amount of powder just to minimise some of the shine from the concealer. Now, as Jane has quite sparse brows, my preference would be to recreate very fine hair strokes through her brows. And if you'd like to see how to do that technique, I've linked the tutorial on screen for you. But for the purpose of today's makeup, I really wanted to approach the brows in a way that still felt realistic and achievable for Jane at home. So rather than colour correcting the old brow tattoo and hand painting individual strokes on like I potentially would for a client, today I'm filling them in very softly using a brow powder and just tracing over some of the remaining brow pigment that's already there. To warm up the complexion and add a little bit of soft dimension, I'm using the Say Beauty Super Suede Baked Bronzer in the shade Amalfi. I'm applying this to the areas where the sun would naturally catch the face, so across the top of the forehead and softly over the higher points of the cheeks. Again, no heavy contouring, no highlighting today, just really wanted the skin to look healthy and softly warmed up and very natural. I'm using my BK Beauty 201 brush to run that bronzer just through the socket of the eye. This is a great way to really tie your eyes and your complexion together. Next, I'm taking the Westman Atelier Baby Cheeks Blush Stick in the shade Petal. This is another really beautiful formula for mature skin because it has such a skin-like texture and it really melts into the complexion rather than sitting heavily on top of it. For the lips, I did want to add a little bit more colour and shape back into the face. I'm using the Lancome Lipidoll Lip Shaper, and these have quickly become some of my favourite lip liners. Today I'm using shade 53. Now on their own they can look a little bit more defined or punchy, but once topped with the Nudestix Gel Colour Lip and Cheek Balm in the shade Tay Tay, it really does soften and diffuse the overall lip beautifully. Don't be afraid to still wear a little bit of colour as you mature because it really can bring so much freshness and life back into the complexion. So let's remind ourselves of where we started and how beautifully everything has come together. Again, this makeup was never about completely transforming Jane or masking every little detail in the skin. It was simply about softly enhancing her features and creating something flattering, realistic and genuinely recreatable at home. If you'd like to see more of my problem-solving makeup tutorials including techniques and hacks for things like hooded eyes, eyeliner, mature skin and realistic everyday makeup, then definitely check out some of my other tutorials. And if there are any other looks or tutorials you'd like me to recreate on Jane, let me know down in the comments because I know so many of you really enjoy seeing realistic makeup on mature skin. Don't forget to share this tutorial with the ladies in your life who might need a little inspiration when it comes to enhancing their natural beauty. All of the products I've used in today's tutorial will be listed and linked down in the description box so you can shop everything directly from the video. And of course, if you are new here, I'd love for you to subscribe. I create tutorials designed to help you build confidence and make makeup feel easier, more achievable and more enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye!